Hello everyone, this is Shamsi and welcome to the rebuild video for our warp cell facility. The reason for the rebuild is twofold. First, I'd noticed that of our 4 glass furnaces, one wasn't running most of the time. And second, a player called Blazemonger, one of the leaders in my organization, gave me his design for a warp cell facility after watching my last guide video based on bruciwonderful's Reddit design and shared how it could be improved upon. Now, bruciwonderful's design is perfectly functional. We got hundreds of warp cells, but it could be made better, and Blazemonger shared his ideas with me on how to make it better. One of those ideas was to be more efficient with container use. Now, I knew I was being inefficient, but since I'm making guides for other players to follow, it's probably best that I try to be efficient with containers, so that's what I've done here. The second thing was, this blew my mind. Transfer units can have 7 inputs. Like any other industry unit, they can have 7 inputs and 1 output. So we didn't need 1 transfer unit per storage box to send Catalyst 3 back into the intake. What we're doing instead, thanks to Blazemonger's design, and thank you very much to him for sharing his design with me, is using 1 transfer unit to pull Catalyst 3 from all 3 of these and sending it to a catalyst relay here, which then feeds back into the appropriate industry units that need the catalyst. The next thing that I took away from his guide to me was that he was only using 3 electronics industries here per row. So he had 3 here, and he had 3 glass furnaces. And he said you could have 3 or 4, it was up to you, and that prompted me to actually do the maths and decide what the optimal setup would be. And I've gone with 5 electronics here and 5 glass furnaces. I'll talk you through the maths towards the end of the video if you want to hang around for that. And I'm also going to be trying a new format for our factory build guides here. I'm going to be making a flowchart of the entire factory and linking it in the description below. You can find the flowchart for this factory in the description of this video. And I'm simply going to be talking you through the setup rather than building it with you step by step. The reason for that is that very few people were watching the video guides through to the end, and so a lot of the information in them wasn't getting through to the community, to you, the viewers. And so I always want to improve, try to do better, and one way I'm trying to do better here is by making more concise videos faster, the same amount of information but delivered more efficiently and quickly. And I'm hoping that that will be more viewable to you all watching this. Now, I also want to thank Twitch viewers Astron Has Taken and Devian for talking through my plans to make content for factory build guides with me and sharing their thoughts and giving their suggestions on how I should approach it. This flow diagram, for instance, I hope it serves. It's my first attempt at making one, but the idea for making these rather than using a spreadsheet came from that conversation. So thank you to those 2 users for helping me plan how I'm going to approach making content for factory build guides. And also, while we're on the subject, thank you everyone for watching these videos. The support has been incredible. We've been live for 4 or 5 days, and we're already approaching 50 subs and 1,000 views on the videos. That's incredible, so thank you. And so I want to ask you to smash that. No, I'm kidding. Let's just get straight to the video. Let's start again, as always, with the start of the story, and this time I'm not going to be manually hauling ingots over. I have a separate ore intake leading into refiners. Now, these aren't connected, and I'll talk about why in a moment, but I've left this container here for demonstration purposes. What we are starting with is putting all 4 tier 1 ingots, ores in, so silicon, bauxite, hematite, and coal. We're also processing limestone and malachite and natron into sodium. And then we're also processing lithium, so petalite into lithium, and acanthite into silver. The ratio of production of silver and sulfur from acanthite, so 45 liters of silver and 15 liters of sulfur, roughly aligns with our usage of these 2 metals. Now, again, these aren't connected because I'm using them. But if this was feeding into the output container, that would be enough. But I was worried that the acanthite perhaps might hit 1,000 which is what I was setting them all to maintain, and so the sulfur wouldn't get made anymore. So as an added extra, we have the link slot available. So if you liked, you can also add a 10th refiner to maintain 1000 pyrite, so sulfur, but the usage of this would be very low because the silver is providing the sulfur and the silver that the industry needs. And then these all go into an output container. What I have set up is in my main factory build here, and I'll be making a guide on this. So if you follow that, you'll also have the links available to send ingots directly to these 9 industry units here. I have every single ingot that I create, except for the tier 3s and 4s, separated out into one container, and I didn't need to use any transfer units. They completely meet my needs in this stage and in this stage of industry. But if you don't have that, all you would have to simply do is manage 2 ore holes. I can just dump raw ore into one and it feeds both facilities. But if you don't have that set up, you can just run your dumping in of ore into the start of your warp cell production. And the next stage in production is 3 chemical factories, 3 glass factories, and 3 smelters. The smelters make alpha, calcium reinforced copper, and coag alloy. The glass furnaces make glass, advanced glass, and agly reinforced glass, and I find maintaining 1000 on each of these to be perfectly sufficient. You don't want to overload this container, although I have here because I had a bunch spare already. And then the containers make our plastics: polycarbonate, polysulfide, and polycarbonate, polycalcite, and polysulfide. Now the polysulfide plastic, the agly reinforced glass, and the coag alloy all need to be seeded with catalyst 3, and what they do is produce 1 catalyst 3 and consume 1 catalyst 3. So it's a self-sufficient process, it's a self-sustaining process, but it requires you to seed it with 3 catalyst 3s first to get it started. After that point, it maintains its own catalyst 3s and runs without interruption. And we have 1 transfer unit connected to each of these outboxes, which is plastics, glass, and alloys, and is feeding our catalyst 3 back into the catalyst container so that the process can continue running. Now all 9 of these would be connected to this container. I have it set up so that say each facility here is connected to exactly what it needs and no more. So this one has silicon, higher tier ingots for its lithium and silver, and then catalyst for its catalyst 3, so it has everything it needs, and those are being fed from over there, so these connections here. But if you don't have that set up, you would simply connect everything here, set up the relay from this unit, and this unit back into the catalyst container, and make sure the catalyst container is connected back to the units that need the catalyst. So the next step, we have our alloys, we have our glass, and we have our plastic. Now the next step is our connectors. So we have these 2 electronics facilities here producing our basic and uncommon connectors and placing them into this container here. And we have these 3 glass furnaces filling this container with LEDs. We have 1 maintaining uncommon LEDs and 2 maintaining basic LEDs. And we also have this electronics industry maintaining basic components into this container here, which is separate from the output of these 2. So this has its own output into this box to maintain basic components. The next stage of the production is 4 glass furnaces and 4 3D printers. So there's 1 extra glass furnace and 1 extra 3D printer set up, which is a difference from our previous build. The reason for that is we need more than 1 facility producing advanced antimatter capsules and advanced quantum core units. So these, if I mouse over them, require 16 minutes to craft, and these consume 1 of those every 62 minutes. So eventually we'll reach a point where, see where I'm already up to 54, where I'll have 200 of these, and these facilities will stop creating new ones, and will then start only maintaining advanced antimatter and quantum cores at 200. But I've switched some of these off because I want to synchronize their production, simply for OCD reasons, no other reason at all. But if we have 4 3D printers and 4 glass furnaces, one maintaining basic antimatter, one maintaining uncommon, and 2 containing producing advanced, and then same with the 3D printers, one maintaining basic, one maintaining uncommon, and 2 maintaining advanced quantum core units and antimatter capsules, then we'll have it so that this medium container, now I found a medium container to be necessary here for storage reasons. I suppose you could just set them to maintain less than 200 each, but I like having a stockpile. So I had a medium container here, and with these running, these 5 electronics in 2 rows, so 10 in total, are always going to be running. So they will always be producing goods once I switch them all back on. The 3D printers need a connection to our plastic box and LED box. Plastic lived here and LEDs lived here. And the glass furnaces need a connection to glass and connectors. So glass lived here in front of the glass furnaces, and connectors lived here from these 2 electronics facilities. So these need 3 connections, one to the plastic box, one to the LED box, and one to the capsule box. The capsule box is just here, the LED box was over here, and the plastic box is over here in front of the chemical factories. All 5 of them need those connections because all 5 of them are making the same item, which is the advanced quantum alignment unit. These 5 need a connection to our alloys box, our components box, and our capsules. Now again, capsules are right here, our alloys are here in front of our smelters, and components had its own little outbox here. These then feed their advanced antimatter core units and advanced quantum alignment units into this box, which then feeds into our 5 glass furnaces, which produce our if this wants to update, our warp cells. Now, why have I selected these numbers? First and foremost, we have 5 connections available. So we need a set, 2 sets of Electronics Industries M. And there are 10 connections available from this capsule container. And so 5 and 5, we can support a maximum of 5 of each of these electronics units. If we have 5 of them running 24 hours in a day, they are able to produce 116 warp cells worth of components into this container. If we have 4 glass furnaces making warp cells, we are able to consume 115. So it's technically 116.2 made and 115.2 consumed. So every day we'll have 1 warp cell worth of components not being consumed. A warp cell right now is roughly 15 grand, and a glass furnace facility is roughly 30 grand. So it seems a little strange for me to add a whole extra glass furnace here to take the number of warp cells we can produce per day from 115 up to 116. But in 2 days, that's 2 extra warp cells. This factory in the middle here pays for itself. And then from that point on, we are producing 1 extra warp cell every day out of this facility. How does that work? Every 62 minutes, these 2 sets of electronics factories poop out components into this container. And every 50 minutes, these 5 take those 5 sets of components and make a warp cell out of them. So the crafting time for a warp cell is 50 minutes. So for 50 minutes of every build cycle, they're working, and for 12 minutes, they're idle. And what that means overall is we get 1 extra warp cell per day. And so that's it. This is the outline of the warp cell facility. These 5 only need a connection to the warp cell end container, which is where these 2 sets of electronics facilities produce their goods into. Connect those to these and these to the output box and start raking in your warp cells. And there we have it. So again, thank you to bruciwonderful from Reddit for creating the design that got me started down this road. Thank you to blazemonger for sharing his design with me to get me thinking about improvements that could be made. And thank you to you all for watching. I hope you've liked this video. If you have, please do consider liking it or subscribing or perhaps even following me on Twitch. And until the next time, thank you for watching and bye for now.